Hey, good morning everybody, it's Blue. We are going to be covering some of the PTR Feral Druids today. Now I do want to let you guys know, I have jumped onto the PTR today. Thank you guys for your comments saying, hey, there's been some PTR updates. Really appreciate that because I just kind of, I guess I was on vacation for a while, haven't been keeping up on it. And then of course all those changes happened while I was out. So I did jump on the PTR. Good news is, we have our max level characters. Unfortunately for me, what this is these are going to be a copy of your character on live. So what that means to you guys is when I do my, basically I'm going to go through here looking through builds and everything like that. It is going to be with a character that is basically Mastery Haste built. So that is unfortunate because it would be nice to kind of like the beta just create my own gear to see how Mastery Haste is doing, to see how Mastery Crit is doing with the specific builds and whatnot. But either way, what I want to do is, Wowhead currently has a talent calculator for beta, or for PTR. What I want to do is I want to go about this talent calculator, and then we are going to transition into the updates, because there's been updates even to this talent, talents, but I feel like you would understand the updates better if we go over this. So let's go ahead and just do one build. There are changes happening on the PTR. So we're just going to do AoE. That's kind of the bread and butter of Feral. So we're going to kind of see how this compares. I did go through this talent tree, the general tree. I think they are making changes to it. It didn't affect any builds that I do. I guess we could probably take out a little survivability and grab this Vortex to reduce the cooldown of it, which can be pretty nice in some dungeons, such as Court of Stars. We need to push the imps away, and then you can have it refreshed again for the next one. So we're going to grab Primal Wrath, we're going to grab Double Clawed Rake, we're going to grab Tear Open Wounds, and then we are on to the next one. So this one right now feels really, really good. So let's go ahead and grab our Berserks, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and grab Infected Wound, and then let's grab basically the standard build, and let's see where that leaves us, where with this bites. This is specifically AoE. So you can see we have 2 points left. Now this is really good because we know that Taste of Blood has been increased. So this is going to be an 8%. I don't want to get too caught up on the numbers because this node did change. And then we're going to go down here, and we're going to go at our standard build. Now, I don't want to talk too much also about the viability of Lunar Inspiration here, because this has been changed. So basically, right here, standard AoE build, what are we missing out on? Well, we are missing out on Merciless Claws from live. And then by not going Taste of Blood, we would also have an extra talent point to either put on Moment of Clarity or this flex node of Tireless Energy. These ones are kind of flex nodes. But basically it's the same thing. A little bit of our rip damage would be moved to bite damage and converted into rip and ferocity, which is really good. That's kind of what we want to see as far as numbers wise. That's really good. Okay. So now let's go ahead and transition over, now that you guys kind of have an idea of the build. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the most recent changes to the PTR that basically Wowhead hasn't updated yet. So we've moved Tear Open Wounds directly below Primal Wrath with a connector to Pouncing Strikes. Okay, so Tear Open Wounds is now right here. Does that affect anything? Yes, it does. There are some AoE situations, for instance, in a fight like Zenith, I think it's Zenith, or I just call it Sen because that's how I search for it. You basically, on that fight, you kind of want to go mostly single target, and then what I do is I will grab just one AoE ability, which is Primal Wrath. Now in this case, which is really, really nice, if you want to flex into mostly single target but get some AoE and then a little bit more AoE, now what's really nice is you don't have to pick up Double Clawed Rake, which I wouldn't want to pick up Double Clawed Rake in an environment like Zenith or whatever the boss's name, you guys know, where you kind of jump over to the ad platforms or something like that, or even the last boss with Razagath, right? You basically go single target. You do want to flex into some AoE, but now this gives you the option to flex into some AoE slash more AoE with Tear Open Wounds instead of having to grab Double Claw Break, which I feel Tear Open Wounds would have a little bit stronger of an AoE presence than Tear Open Wounds for the value of that one talent node. So that's actually really, really wonderful, and it's not no longer behind Double Claw Break. So that's a win for us. That's really great. Just creates better build flexibility, right? Moved Lunar Inspiration below to the left of Sudden Ambush. So now what will happen is Sudden Ambush is being changed. It's no longer a 2-point node. We'll read about that later. Um, let's see. Let's even find that. Sudden Ambush changed to a single point node that grants 6% chance per combo point spent to cause your next shred or rake to deal damage as though it were stealthed. Um, I feel like this is very much a single talent build, but we will have to see how that opens up when this is reduced to one talent. But it just makes me think that it's like, hey, we noticed that Sudden Ambush is a single target build, and then we're going to put Lunar Inspiration behind that, which makes this very much a single target section. Um, I was interested, with this down here, I was interested to see how this would change up the build possibly with having Lunar Inspiration, but now it looks like it's going to be up here and it's going to probably mostly a single target flex. Um, as AoE, there's kind of just a lot here that you really wouldn't want to do. Okay. Tear Open Wounds. This is really big, you guys. Tear Open Wounds now deals 70% of Rip's damage. It consumes from 60. This is really good. I don't know if you guys remember the video where I checked out damage charts, and I actually have damage charts because I was doing stuff on the beta right now, and I was looking at how they compared. I didn't say this, but I'm not going to be doing beta right now. I still spend a lot of time in retail, and I want to spend the time in retail, but also I very much want to get my 4 set before I go into the beta, right? So this is damage profile right now in an AoE situation. I think I spoke about this. Let's say the tree in the tree boss in Algathar Academy. This gets super exaggerated, and this rip is so ridiculous, and everything else just gets squished down. Um, so, sorry, I lost my train of thought here. What we were talking about here. Tear Open Wounds. Okay, that's right. So we know that Rip got nerfed. They're nerfing Rip by nerfing Dreadful Bleeding, right? Rip damage used to be increased by 20%. So it's a 5% nerf to Rip. But they still, I believe what they're still trying to do is they're still trying to balance this out, right? So Rip got nerfed, but what they're going to do is, hey, I want to increase the damage of Tear Open Wounds, so I need to buff that. So Rip got reduced by 5%, but Tear Open Wounds got increased by, what was this, 10%? Very good. So that is huge. This is very much showing, hey, with Feral Druid, we don't really like the damage patterns, and we're trying to, create something that just looks better, which is great. So Tear Open Wounds got increased. Wonderful to see. You do want to see Tear Open Wounds increased, because in AoE, Tear Open Wounds is what's going to really be pushing your damage up, as well as now Rampant Ferocity. So let's continue. Taste for Blood. This is huge. Taste for Blood changed to a single point node that increases Ferocious Bite damage by 5%. This is so good. You guys remember when I was doing this talent tree, I had 2 leftover points. So now we're going to put 1 into Taste of Blood and get 5% of that. And then another one we can flex into maybe Sudden Ambush. I kind of have a feeling this is mostly a single target option. But again, if we could get this to hit our rake and our rakes are doubled, and if that potentially works like that, that's pretty cool. But this is probably going to be 1 point here, which is wonderful. And then maybe even like, hey, I want to flex into this. This got changed as well to reduce the cost of it for single target, or I want to go to Tyros Energy or Moment of Clarity. That's probably going to be the pick here is these two, which is great. So this basically means we're losing nothing, and we're only gaining moving to this PTR setting, which is wonderful. Um, Lunar Inspiration. So Lunar Inspiration, um, Moonfire damage increased to 125% of what it is live. Remember, it was very heavily nerfed. Um, and we already talked that it was moved, so very good. Relentless Predator reduces the energy cost of Ferocious Bite by 40%. This is something I've been talking about for so long. I'm glad they finally did that. If you guys remember, um, when they first started the PTR, I was like, yeah, that's really cool that they're changing everything, but this is a dead node right here. If you guys check out this on live, it says, hey, it reduces energy by 20%, but it's only reducing the cost. I don't. It's only reducing the overall cost by 5 energy, and it's like, wow, one talent is reducing the overall cost of Ferocious Bite by 5 energy, and the way that we're so heavily like updating our bleeds and rip, we're not even like biting that often. Maybe if this was in Shadowlands where all we did is bite, 5 extra reduced energy would be good, but it feels terrible. So this is going to go from 5 down to 10. So our bites are going to be 10 less energy, so 40 overall. That may make it worth it. Probably on a single target build, definitely not AoE. Rip and Tear, damage increased to 15% of rip damage, so it was 12%. Okay, so this is 15%, and live it's 20%, so it's just a 5% nerf. Infected Wounds reverted. Remember, this got nerfed, so it is now reverted. Vein Ripper bonus reverted to the values that it was on live. So this was a big one, you guys. Remember, I was saying, like, look, they are very much trying to make us a bite build by increasing bite damage, by reducing rip damage, by reducing rake damage, and by basically saying, hey, these are elongated, so, like, you can bite more often. So they're reverting this back, which is really, really good because, like, I know that they were saying, hey, we want them to be comparable, but maybe a little bit less. It did not feel like that from the first iterations. Of course, I didn't jump into PTR to look at those numbers, but it looked like it got butchered a lot. So they're falling back on that. So that is really good, okay? Because of the way that they're doing with the talents by reducing all these talents, single target can still be really good and really viable, just because now we have the option to flex into more talents, which is really, really helpful. So let's read the final notes. We are happy that players are enjoying the full bleed AoE build that almost entirely spends combo points on Primal Wrath. Very good. We want to keep that build strong for players that enjoy it. I think this is the right move. This is a new thing for us, and it's really enjoyable. I think Feral is a spec that is looked at is a very complicated spec. This is a way to really ease the rotation down, ease the complexity down, but still make it extremely enjoyable. Like, I myself, I usually do like the complexity of Feral Druid. I don't know how complex it is now that I've been playing it for a long time, and I have some knowledge, even though I usually just kind of wing it and don't listen to the guides that I do. Um, as far as like what buttons are best when and whatnot, but it's really fun and it's enjoyable. So I'm glad that they're keeping with that. So we want to keep that build strong for players that enjoy it while providing other valuable alternatives. So it looks like how they're going to do that now is they did nerf the rip by 5%, but overall they're giving us more points to talent into different talents, which is going to make other builds also strong. As we continue to iterate on balance, we believe the last round of changes reduced its power too much. I agree. Didn't test it, but I agree. So we are undoing some changes and adding some boost to damage dealt by tear open wounds and rip and tear. Yes, that's very good. They need to basically change this by adding tear open wounds. If you guys remember, they reduced this from hitting every single target, which was ridiculous. I remember on the PTR when Tear Open Wounds hit every single target, Rip was just ridiculous damage overall, but Tear Open Wounds was like right behind it. Those two spells were just like super powerful and everything else was small. I agree it was too strong, but what they did is they nerfed Tear Open Wounds to hit 5 targets for its full amount and then reduced. I think if you just hit it 5 targets or 8 targets, um, that would be an extreme buff to Tear Open Wounds. But then again, that's only in specific environment situations with very, very big pulls. So yeah, they're probably doing it, but I do remember when Tear Open Wounds was really strong and it was awesome. So yeah, Tear Open Wounds we want to see stronger than it is now. Okay, let's look at Lunar Inspiration. Lunar Inspiration is no longer a choice node with Feral Frenzy and has been moved to the middle section of the tree. Um, we adjusted its damage to be appropriate with its new location. Taste for Blood and Sound Ambush are now single point nodes with the intention of making them more appealing alternatives for moving down the tree, which is great. A lot of people didn't even do Taste for Blood at all. Even on single target, you basically flexed Tear Open Wounds, even though you never use it, just to get around it. So thanks, you guys. Obviously for letting me know of these changes. These are really, really wonderful changes. I didn't go through here in single target, but again, there are some changes in the tree that we would want to flex into for single target. There'd just be no point here. But this gave us the AoE, gave us a good idea of what things are looking like. So yeah, thanks again for letting us know. Things are looking really, really good. And oh, also, if you guys are curious, oh man, it's so small. So I just went ahead and jumped into the PTR really, really quickly. And these are kind of the damage profiles of what we're looking like, which was basically me, doing the same build that I kind of showed you on the PTR. The PTR hasn't changed the talents, but here is our damage on the PTR, Blue Cat. And here's our damage right here. You're going to see things like, look at how better this damage profile looks. So RIP is no longer 25%, it's around 21%. Obviously, these are different polls. Maybe one is elongated. But you can see here, Rampant Ferocity is creeping up. Tear Open Wounds is still very high. Ferocious Bite is creeping up. Look at how better these damage profiles are just starting to look on beta right now. So it's like they are doing a very good job. And I'm really excited to see how this is going to be overall. If we're looking at beta compared to what beta is going to be with the changes, Ferocious Bite is going to be reduced by a tiny bit, which means Rampant Ferocity is going to be reduced by a tiny bit. Tear Open Wounds is going to be increased by a little bit, so they're still balancing out these really well. If I have Forset, holy cow, Forset is going to obviously basically just bump all these major spells right here up a little bit more. And then Primal Wrath up a little bit more. Primal Tear Open Wound, Tear Dot up a little bit more. But yeah, that's it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully, you got something out of this. Or if you're for me and you missed it completely, this is amazing news. It has been so much good news for Feral Druid. It's like a really exciting time to be playing Feral. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the spec. But that's it for me. Have a wonderful weekend. Good luck pushing keys. Good luck in your raids and your dungeons and whatnot. Take it easy, everybody. Peace out.